Get ready.
This is the voice of Wayne America.
Lighten up, Francis.
With your host,
Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Mike Carnes.
How do you measure yourself with other golfers? By height.
Only at WayneAmerica.com.
The supernova's gonna kill us all.
Okay, this guy is the real zero, that's true. Let's just think back when you guys were freshmen, huh?
.com.
Greetings from Wayne America. This is the Voice of Wayne America podcast, an exclusive here at WayneAmerica.com. I'm your host, Mike Carnes, and every week on the Voice of Wayne America, we sit down and talk with somebody who has some kind of connection to our community, whether it's a local resident or somebody who used to live here or has some kind of tie to the community. And we talk about the best town in all of America, and that is right here in Wayne America. And we want to thank our sponsors for the program, including AKA 142 Media. And your business can also be mentioned here. Just email me at mike@mikeycproductions.com for more information. Joining us this week on Voice of Wayne America is Troy Reynolds, the lead minister at Journey Christian Church. And Troy just recently returned from a 10-day mission trip in India and has some interesting stories to tell about his mission trip. And I know, Troy, you were a part of a group that traveled from Omaha to India to work with the Mid-India Christian Mission. How'd you get connected with this group to begin with?
Well, I'm friends with a couple of the pastors on staff at Stonebridge Christian Church, and they are mission partners with Mid-India, and they were planning on going over, and they asked if I'd be interested in going, and I'm like, sure, that'd be fantastic.
And it's a 10-day mission trip that you guys did, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to do in advance to go on a mission trip. And, when I go to state wrestling, I stop by the post office and hold my mail and make sure the dog's where it needs to go, and then I'm gone for 3 days. But mission trip, there's a lot more stuff that you have to prepare for, especially if you're going overseas like you did.
Yes, there's a lot to go into it. Fortunately, I already had a passport from a previous trip, so then I had to apply for a visa. Just all done online, and then you just have to print out your visa. So it was fairly painless, but a lot of questions you have to go through. A couple of attempts working through it before finally figuring it out, and then just planning on going and making sure that everything here at Journey is going to be taken care of, knowing that my wife Stephanie is going to have everything on the home front handled, and unfortunately she's going to be by herself for those 10 days running everywhere to take the kids their places and her job and all of that, but fortunately, she's very understanding.
And she's obviously been through this before, so she knows the routine, correct?
Yes, she does. Yes.
Now, talk a bit about what Mid-India Christian Mission is and what the purpose of that organization is.
Yes. That's one of the reasons I wanted to go over was to learn a little bit more about them firsthand rather than just what was on their website, and because what I had seen on their website was pretty amazing, and so their obvious goal is to evangelize, but their two main ways of doing that is through empowerment and education. There's in India, even though it's not official, it still pretty much operates on the caste system, and so there's not a lot of opportunities for those who are in the lower caste system, and not a lot of opportunities for women in a lot of India. And so they want to empower women and children and those of the lower caste system, giving them opportunities to develop themselves and better themselves. And a lot of that is done then through education, whether it's through, they have early learning centers, which are basically tutoring programs in villages throughout India. They have a K through 12 school with over 2,500 students that ranks at the top of the nation in test scores. They have a 4-year liberal arts school. They have a trade school as well. But a lot of different education opportunities and ways to empower people, and using those opportunities as a way to share the good news of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Can you kind of explain the caste system? I'm not sure what that means.
Yes. Traditionally, the caste system, there's kind of 4 major castes. There's the highest caste, which are kind of the Brahmins, the priests, the religious leaders, and then the next class under that, and they call the Brahmin class kind of the head, and so it's kind of, if you think of it as a body, it's the head. The next one is kind of the military leaders and political leaders, and they're kind of the shoulders and arms, kind of the strength, and they support the head and protect the head. Then the next caste system would be kind of your business type people, and they consider that kind of the stomach. It's what feeds the body. And then the lowest caste, which is, I think I heard was like 85% of India is the lowest caste, and those are just kind of your a lot of your manual laborers, day laborers, and out of that there's then a kind of a subcaste, which are the untouchables that people have heard talked about before, where they can't go into businesses. They really are, in a lot of ways, considered untouchable.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yes.
Interesting setup there.
It is.
We're talking with Troy Reynolds, the lead minister at Journey Christian Church, talking about his recent mission trip to India. I wanted to take a moment here to answer the question, what does the AKA in AKA 142 Media stand for? Well, it stands for many things, but what's most important is that AKA 142 Media provides awesome, kickin' apps that can be downloaded to your phone. Whether it's your school, your favorite youth sports program, or your local business, AKA 142 Media can build an awesome kickin' app that meets your needs. Drop Kevin an email at kevin@aka142.com and tell him that Mike sent you. That's AKA 142 Media, awesome kickin' apps. And we're talking with Troy Reynolds here about his recent mission trip to India with the organization known as Mid-India Christian Mission. I know, spreading the word of Jesus Christ is what these mission trips are all about, and I know that you have a lot of interesting experiences that I know you shared at a recent service here at Journey Christian Church, and had a lot of interesting memories of your trip here to India.
Yes, a lot of memories. Obviously, when you travel that far, it's pretty overwhelming. I've never been to a third world country before, and so seeing some of the abject poverty that is out there is kind of hard to wrap your mind around when we have it so easy here in the States. And so you go over there and seeing all the sights and the sounds, the people everywhere, traffic that you just think you're going to die every time you get in a vehicle, because it was absolutely crazy. I always said that, learned over there that the lines on the road are just suggestions. Stop signs are just suggestions. And, but really just learning about what they did over there. They have, one of the first things we encountered was this girls' home called Mercy Home. It's a boarding school for young girls that anywhere from ages 5 up through probably about 18 or 19. Some of them are orphans, don't have a mom or dad. Some of them were young girls that were going to be forced to marry men that were much, much older. Some of them are parents are intact, but they are Christians living in an area where it's not easy to be a Christian, and it can be hard for them, and so their parents send them there. And so we went there and just learned a little bit about what they do there. They put on a little program for us, and it was just amazing seeing what they were doing there with those girls. There was a place called Oasis of Love. That's a day program for people with mental handicaps that are mentally challenged in different areas, from anywhere from Down syndrome to things that are much more severe, but their families think of them as cursed because of that, and so they're treated poorly oftentimes. So Mid-India has this program. They bring them in, teach them little skills, how to make necklaces, doing little sewing projects, making paper beads and turning them into bracelets, different things like that. And then they're able to take them into town where they sell these things that they have made, and because they make some money to bring home to their families are more accepting of them and more willing to have them in their home. And so again, that's one of those empowerment issues that they focus on. And through that, because they've built these relationships and are showing love in these different ways, and it gives them the opportunity then to talk a little bit about Jesus with them.
And I think if my memory serves me right, India is more of a Muslim country than a Christian nation. Is that right?
It's a Hindu country.
Hindu country. Okay,
Yes.
I sometimes get those confused, I guess, and I apologize for that. But you talked about the fact that it's hard for them to be a Christian in a country like that. What kind of challenges do Christians face in a nation that is predominantly a Hindu nation?
Well, I think anywhere when a group is in the minority, it just makes it more difficult for that person. Only 2% of like over 1.5 billion people in India. Only 2% of them are Christians, and so they're the vast minority. So that always makes it hard. Some places in India, it's not as difficult, but in central India, where Mid-India is located, the state in which they reside still has anti-conversion laws on the books. So if they were caught actively trying to convert somebody to any other religion other than Hindu, they could actually be arrested for that.
Wow.
But I think a lot of it is simply that idea of, they're in the minority, and so it's hard for them to kind of break through that.
Do they experience a lot of prejudice in the community, or?
In the headquarters of where it is, not so much, because they've been there for so long. They've been there for about 3 generations, and they've, through all of their different efforts of the education and empowerment in their specific community, I think they're, by the officials, they're looked at fairly favorably. There's still things that they're not allowed to do. They can't go on TV anytime they want and actively share the gospel or anything of that nature. They can do it basically on Christmas Day and at Easter. Otherwise, they can't do that. But I think because the school is located there, college is located there, they're looked at, I think, fairly favorably by people who know them.
Mm-hmm. And then do you get a chance to like share the gospel while you're on this trip?
No, we were not able to. Our main purpose of going over there, one was to learn about the ministry, and then the other was to participate in a leadership seminar. There were about 150 church leaders from over India that came there for a 3-day conference. And so we led the main sessions and the workshops and try to provide encouragement for them so that when they go back to their villages, they go back with a little more encouragement to persevere, to stay strong, and for them to do the work of evangelizing and sharing the gospel.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they get a lot out of your guys coming out there. What, from your perspective, what do you get out of going on a mission trip like this?
A couple different things. One was, as I mentioned earlier, it's my first time going into kind of a third world area and seeing that type of poverty and how they live. They're in the middle of town. There'd just be 50 tents set up, and just wooden, basically sticks and fabric that make these tents, and that's what people live in. And so one of the takeaways is realize how good you have it here. Another takeaway for me was looking at everything that Mid-India did to contextualize the gospel. A lot of what they did wouldn't work here in the United States because it's a different culture. But they're looking at their culture and say, how can we, as Indians, influence our culture with the gospel of Jesus Christ? And that made me think, ask those questions of myself. How can we at Journey Christian Church do a better job of reaching northeast Nebraska with the good news of Jesus Christ and the rest of America, realizing that God's placed us here, and so how can we do ministry in a way that is culturally relevant, that still maintains the integrity of the gospel.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like a really interesting trip for you to go on and really give you a new perspective about the work that you do and the opportunity to spread the gospel here.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Talking with Troy Reynolds, the lead minister here at Journey Christian Church, about his recent trip to India, and wanted to mention that your business can be in this spot right here on the Voice of Wayne America podcast. We're geared toward celebrating and promoting the community of Wayne America, and your business can be a part of this program by being a sponsor. You can call me for more information at 402-660-9682 or shoot me an email at mike@mikeycproductions.com. Closing things down here with our interview this week with Troy Reynolds from Journey Christian Church, and this is kind of a real eye-opening experience for you, and a real neat opportunity for you to go overseas and and experience this. And I know that there are a number of people in this church and in other churches here in Wayne that have been on mission trips in the past, have had an opportunity to travel to different parts, not only different parts of the world, but different parts of America too, and do some mission opportunities. I guess for people who are maybe thinking, hey, this would be something I might want to do. Regardless of whether it's this church or any other church in the community, who do they talk to about something like that, about going on a mission trip?
Who do they talk to? Talk to God. Well, but
After God,
yes. But it's something that I think you need to pray about, talk with your family about, because it is a pretty big deal. And then talk to your church leaders. Your pastor at your church would probably have information. I know we have information here and different websites that we can give out to give people information. But most churches have organizations and missions that they support and would have contact information, and a lot of those do encourage short-term mission trips. So stopping at the church that they belong to would be a good place to start.
And these mission trips usually aren't more than a few days to a couple of weeks. Some are longer, but it's really an opportunity to get out and see a different part of the world and see how see an area of the world that you've never seen before, and see how life is like. And I know a lot of the people that I've talked to over the years that have been on mission trips, they just have a completely changed perspective about their own situation and where we're at, and some of the challenges that they might have in their lives. Boy, you put it in perspective to what some of these people that are part of these mission journeys are living through is just like night and day.
Yes, I think here in America we kind of lead sheltered lives a lot of times, and so this expands us to see that the world is much bigger than just Wayne, America, or just America in general, that there's a big world out there that God created and that are filled with people that God loves, and so it's a great opportunity for people to have their minds expanded a little bit and see what God is doing in other parts of the world.
All right. Well, Troy, I want to thank you for talking with us on Voice of Wayne America this week, and thanks for sharing all this information. We're glad you're home.
Oh, well, thank you, and thanks for having me on the program.
All right. And for more information about the Mid-India Christian Mission, you can visit their website at midindia.com. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Voice of Wayne America. And again, I want to thank our guest, Troy Reynolds, the lead minister at Journey Christian Church right here in Wayne, America. Check back to wayneamerica.com as we continue to tell the stories of the people who make this the best town not only in Nebraska, and not only in America, but by golly, this is the best town on the planet. It's right here in Wayne, America. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week here on the Voice of Wayne America.